A Manhattan federal court heard arguments today in a lawsuit challenging the detention of Mahmoud Khalil, a Columbia University graduate student that the Trump administration is trying to deport over his role in pro-Palestinian protests at the school last year. Columbia University graduate Katie Aryeh joined us earlier for more on what it was like to be a Jewish student at Columbia during the protests.
Well, Columbia University has been a breeding ground for terror support since very soon after the October 7th attack on innocent Israeli civilians. On October 12th, there was the first protest that was against Israel and their actions, even though they were still counting the bodies from October 7th. And since then, the protests have continued getting worse and worse with time. In April of 2024, Mahmoud Khalil was one of the ringleaders of the encampment that took over my campus for over 2 weeks. They violently took over a building, broke in with hammers, held a facilities worker hostage, and continued to terrorize not just Jewish students, but all students on our campus. They claimed to be Westerners advocating for the total eradication of Western civilization. Their one goal was to disrupt and destruct everything. They call for death to the West, death to America, death to the Jews. And they were promoting not only violence, but terrorist ideals, including distributing explicit Hamas propaganda.
Now, the case largely comes down to free speech protections under the U.S. Constitution. Katie shared her perspective on that debate.
I'm personally a big proponent of free speech, but free speech does not give you a right to discriminate and to harass and to promote terrorist ideals. There is a fine line between being able to voice your opinions, and obviously we are blessed in the West to be able to voice our opinions, even if they contradict that of our governments. But to explicitly promote terrorist ideals, to idolize terrorists, such as Yahya Sinwar, who orchestrated the massacre on October 7th, to hand out posters with his quotes calling for a flood, which is what Hamas referred to the October 7th massacre as, explicitly showing and promoting these horrific ideals and handing out posters and propaganda that comes directly from these terrorist groups. They had photos of these terrorists in action. They brought members of terror supporting groups in New York City to campuses. It's just so beyond free speech at this point. It's just void of morality, void of values, and it's a threat to the security of the United States, just as it's a threat to the security of Canada. And frankly, governments have the moral and legal obligation to protect their citizens from harm. And part of that is removing individuals who have explicitly stated that they would like to destroy our country and what we stand for. I think it's important to emphasize that this is not just a Jewish or anti-Semitism or anti-Israel issue. This is a moral issue. This is a Western value-based issue. These individuals like Mahmoud Khalil have every intention to burn down America, to burn down Canada, to burn down Western civilization. And we should all, regardless of our religious identity, we should all be proud to stand very strong against individuals like this. And it is pure, just common sense to say that these individuals who are dangerous and pose a threat to citizens of Western civilizations should no longer be given the privilege to be amongst them.